probably already know about the health risks associated with red meat. Past research has shown it can increase the risk of diabetes, cardiovascular disease, and certain cancers. But I'm not here to talk about the effects it has on us, the effects it has on the environment. To start off, here are some statistics that may shock you. 30% of global water consumption, 45% of the Earth's land use, and 91% of deforestation in the Amazon are all due to animal agriculture. It's also the leading cause of habitat destruction and ocean dead zones. You may be wondering, if animal agriculture has this much toll on the environment, then why don't we know much about it, and why aren't the major environmental groups doing anything to fix it? Charities preach about how we can lower our domestic water use. This only counts for 5% of the total water usage in the US, compared to 55% on animal farming. Did you know it takes 11,000 litres of water to produce 1 pound of beef? Meaning one burger requires 3,000 litres of water, the equivalent of 2 months' worth of showers. Charities confronted with these statistics couldn't give a legitimate answer to why this issue isn't being addressed. And some, such as Greenpeace, even refused to have an interview on the topic whatsoever. And if you look at their websites, you won't find much or any information. However, activists have been speaking out. Sister Dorothy Stang was a nun living in the Amazon who dedicated her life to protecting the rainforest and spoke openly about the impacts of animal agriculture. Walking home one day, she was gunned down at point-blank range by a hired gunman from the cattle industry. She is just one of 1,100 activists who have been killed in Brazil in the last 20 years. In fact, the documentary that inspired this speech had its funding cut in case it caused the same disparity. The documentary also spoke about the waste that cattle produces. Animal agriculture accounts for 51% of human greenhouse gas emissions and produces an obscene amount of waste, none of which is treated and most is dumped into the oceans. Annually, enough animal waste is produced to cover the entirety of San Francisco, New York City, Delaware, Hong Kong, Tokyo, New Delhi, Bali, Rio, Berlin, Paris, London, Denmark, and Costa Rica. Cattle ranching also requires a lot of land, which is the leading cause of deforestation. Once a cow grazes on an area of grassland, it can no longer be used for much else because the soil is either too weak or infertile. Surviving on a vegan diet requires 1/6 of an acre of land per year per person. A vegetarian diet requires 3 times this amount, and a meat-based diet requires 18 times this amount. An average meat eater would save 1.4 tonnes of CO2 emissions a year just by removing beef from their diet, 1.6 tonnes by being vegetarian and 1.8 by being vegan. This just shows how much CO2 is produced by cows alone and how much we can save by giving up beef, not all meat altogether. I made the conscious decision to give up red meat for my own health and for the environment. And I'm not saying you have to give up anything, I don't want to force my views on you, but I just wanted to explain the reasoning behind my lifestyle choice. Personally, I haven't found changing my diet just to give up one type of meat that challenging, as I can still enjoy all other meats, foods and dairy products. I hope some of you walk away from this inspired to change your eating habits. Even if you only cut down on your red meat intake, it still makes all the difference. Thank you for listening.